Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about how I learned to wheelie. Now, this is another one of those tricks that there's really not that many tricks. So just a warning guys, when you're watching this video, there's no tricks in this video, there's no how to wheelie fast. This is just the 5 things that I did that taught me how to wheelie, and hopefully these things can help you and you can learn too. So let's get started. So the first thing that I did when I was learning how to wheelie was I just set up my bike to be comfortable. And what I mean by that is I looked at my seat height and I looked at my gearing. These are definitely the first 2 things you want to look at when you're starting to learn how to wheelie. And there's no real right answer here. I really want to emphasize that in my opinion, it's what feels right. And that's what's going to help you the most. You want to feel comfortable. You want to feel like you have a lot of control over the bike. You can have your seat all the way up. You can have your seat all the way down. For me, I like to have it almost all the way up. And almost all the way up for me is when my legs are pretty much straight at the bottom of the pedal stroke and then down just a little bit. That's where I feel like I have the most control over the bike. The next thing you look at is gearing. Again, no right answer here. Whatever gear feels the best for you. Now, when I'm just playing around and I just want to do some fun wheelies at a pretty relaxed pace, this is usually 3rd, 4th gear for me. Basically, just easy enough that I can start to pedal and get the front wheel up, but hard enough that I can keep the wheelie going. These 2 things are just pretty much trial and error. You have to try a bunch of them to see what's right, because it's going to change on the type of rider you are, how tall you are, the bike you're riding, and where you're trying to do the wheelie. So there's really no right answer. The trick is try them all, you know? Get out there, try your seat high, try your seat low, try a bunch of different gears, see what feels right. And that's what I did, and that's what I was doing when I was first starting to wheelie. You just gotta try everything and see what works. So get out there, try it out, see what works. All right, now the second thing I did when I was learning how to wheelie was I learned that when I use my rear foot to get the front wheel up, that actually helped me get to my balance point faster and just feel a little bit more comfortable, a little quicker. And what I mean by that is, when you're standing up and you're riding, you're gonna notice that you have 1 foot that's forward and 1 foot that's back. And I find that when I'm riding and going to do a wheelie, I use that back foot to give the power to lift the front wheel, and then my front foot comes around and I feel just a little more balance there. So I use my back foot to get the front wheel up, front foot comes around, and I just feel a little more comfortable like this. I get into my balance point and I feel like I have a bit more control a bit quicker. Again, one of the first things I did when I was learning how to wheelie was just figure out which foot I should start with and what feels best. And again, I really want to emphasize, no right answer here. If you feel like you should start with your front foot and that gets you to feeling more comfortable up on the back wheel, then do that. Just do what feels comfortable. So get out there, see what foot feels right, see what foot helps you get the front wheel up. No tricks here. Just try it. Now the third thing I did when I was learning how to wheelie was learning how the back brake works in stopping me from tipping over. This is really the only dangerous part of doing the wheelie. When you give it a bit too much power and you flip backwards. And when you're not used to jumping off the bike, you're gonna fall on your butt and it hurts. So let's try and avoid that. So when you start to feel yourself coming back a little too far, just grab that rear brake. That's gonna bring the front wheel down. Now, when you're first starting out, you're probably not gonna have the coordination and the muscle memory to know how much to pull that brake, and that's okay. This comes with practice. Now, what I did when I was learning is when I would start to do the wheelie and I'd start to go too far back, I would grab that back brake, but really hard, and bring the front wheel down hard. And that just guaranteed that I wasn't gonna fall over. I wouldn't worry too much about modulating your brake power at first, because doing that's a little scary, or at least it was for me. So I just started off pulling the brake pretty hard and getting the front wheel down. As you keep practicing this, what you're gonna notice is that you learn, oh, okay, this is how much I need to pull the brake to bring the front wheel down, and you can sort of modulate your back brake and tune it and tune your power so that it's just bringing down the front wheel just a little bit and keeping the wheelie going. Now, I think there is a bit of confusion here when people say that they're feathering the brake. They think that there's some sort of pedaling and braking going on in some conjunction, some sort of technique that's keeping the wheelie balanced. For me, if I can avoid using the back brake, I just don't use it if I don't need to. The back brake is really just an emergency lever. You're going too far back, you pull it a little bit, brings the front wheel back down. No tricks here again. You're sort of learning how to juggle. You've got to pedal with your feet, pull with your finger, keep the front wheel up. So this is hard to learn, and if you feel like you're juggling, you're pedaling, you're trying to pull the brake, and it's feeling just like it's too much, that's okay. That's how everyone feels. You just have to keep practicing, One day you'll wake up and it'll be a lot easier, and you won't really know why, but you just have to trust me, it'll be easier. Now I think the biggest trick or the best tip that I can offer you is doing wheelies up a slight hill is just so much easier. It's just way easier to balance, it's a lot less scary, it's not as easy to fall back, you can go a lot slower and sort of find that balance point. It's a little lower consequence. So when I was practicing, I was all about finding those hills and learning how to wheelie that way. Now you don't want it to be too steep because it'll be just insane to try and wheelie up. You don't want something that's hard to just pedal up, let alone wheelie up. Just find a hill that's not too steep, find the right gear, get your seat right, get that foot going to get the wheel up, and do some wheelies. And so the fifth thing I did when I was learning how to wheelie was, you probably guessed it, I practiced a lot. And I really want to emphasize that I did practice a lot. Probably more than a lot of tricks I had to learn. What you'll probably notice is that for wheeling, it seems like some people just get it so fast, and if you're like me, you don't get it for so long, and it's so strange. It just seems like something you should be able to do, but finding the balance point it just seems so difficult. But trust me, you're just gonna have to keep practicing, and one day it'll click, and you'll wonder why you even thought it was so difficult in the first place. So get out there, find some hills, get the right seat position, find the right gear, use your brake to bring the front wheel down, and just practice. It does take a ton of practice, but it's super fun, and I definitely highly recommend learning how to wheelie. So get out there and learn how to wheelie. I'll see you guys in the next one.